should know, but I'm afraid that I must continue my writing. Here. Most of what you'll need to know is in there. Keep it well hidden. For reasons you'll discover, I can't send you to Riven with a way out. But I can give you this. It appears to be a linking book back here to Dunny. But it's actually a one-man prison. You'll need it, I'm afraid, to capture Gan. Once you've found Catherine, signal me, and I'll come with a linking book to bring us back. There's also a chance, if this all goes well, that I might be able to get you back to the place that you came from.
Yo? Mafia di gaje. Kajaware po. Namodo wewe po me po. Tagema. Rekoa. Tagema busu rekoa. Wisirapo. Umutika buku anai. Wisirapo. Umutika buku anai. Buku anai. Isirap. Buku anai. Buku anai. Buku anai. Buku anai.
This is Luetin. Okay, I'm quite excited about this one. This is going to be my playthrough of Riven. Now, it's a game that I haven't played for 10 years, so there's a lot that I may or may not remember about this game. I have played it through a few times, and I think I will remember most things, but there's some things that you have to do from scratch each time. There's some things that you're going to need to record. I don't have a guide, I don't have one to hand. I mean, I do have one. I had one in the past, but you know, I'm not going to be using anything other than myself because that is the enjoyment of the game. So, where are we and what are we doing? Well, from my previous video, we know that we've been sent here by Atreus, and we've been sent here by Atreus to capture his father, Gen. Now, we're on Riven, and Riven is one of Gen's worlds, one of his ages, and we know that Gen is not particularly good at creating ages. They tend to be unstable, and with this in mind, we'll see as we go around that the world of Riven has many features that show its instability. And apparently the islands here were all originally closer together, maybe even one, but due to the instability they've moved apart further and further over time, hence the transport system we can see here in the distance. So let's take a little look around. This is one of the first things that we see, and it's natural that we go and have a little look at it. So let's just go and check it out here. Now, it seems to be, I thought this was some kind of cement. It looks like some kind of silo or something, but it's actually, when you see here, we'll talk about the giant knife in a minute. It's actually got this kind of optic, but when we look into it, we see that it's all opaque, there's nothing you can see. And we also have, like many things in these worlds, some kind of mechanism, but it doesn't seem to work right now. Nothing is happening. And we also see this trapdoor here, which seems to be completely rusted. It's obviously not been used for a long time. And we have a keypad, but we don't know the combination to that, so there's nothing really we can do here at the moment. And is often the case, you need to find or unlock other things in order to activate these things, but it's very important to remember what functionality they have. Now, these giant daggers are quite symbolic of Riven, and they were a feature, I believe, written in by Catherine. We should also speak a little bit, just briefly, about the linking point here. Now, you can see that Gen has this style of building these little rooms, these little cages. But this has been built so that it was very difficult to see into the world of Riven, and Atreus would not be able to see what was going on here in Riven by building this sort of portal gate around here. Now, the other thing we should say is that we do have, obviously, the books available. We have Atreus's journal. We have books and journals. Now, Atreus's journal is quite long, and I'm going to read this. This is going to sit here. I'm going to read this through on a separate video after this one. So if you want to see the journals, then you can, and if not, then we will skip over them. So we'll come back to that. Okay, the other thing we've got is this lever, but we did see our little friend here damage the lever. So I'm pretty sure that this doesn't do anything. And the only thing it did do is open the gate in the first place anyway. Sometimes these windows can be a little bit irritating. Here we go. You can see he did do some kind of damage to it. And nothing happens when we try to use it. So let's go and explore. So first of all, we can see here, this is the kind of transport system that links the islands together. And you can see that's quite extensive, it goes off into the distance. We can also see there's several islands. And we can start to see some features over here, some of the trees. And again, we can see some of the distance here, we can see the transport network, but we don't really know what this network is, what it does, how you use it. We also find over here a little temple room. So let's go in and have a little look. So one of the first things we see is five-sided room. And we also see this symbol on the floor here. And we see this symbol repeated in other places. And that's because, again, the way he designed the world, he loves the number 5. 5 is like a core of everything that he does. And so it appears in symbols, writing, and puzzles as well. And if we look around here, we see things written in Rivenese on the walls here. We should also say it's kind of interesting that Atris told us that we need to look after the prison book that was given to us right at the beginning, and we allow it to be immediately stolen by our little thief friend, which is not particularly helpful in our mission. We've fallen at the first hurdle, as it were. Now, these beetles are an integral part of Riven, and we'll see why later on, but we can see they have a little thing that you can interact with here. And when we look inside the beetle, we can see there's actually an image. And we can see that these images are actually Gen. And you can see here Gen obviously placing himself in a position, a godlike position. And here we see the mist book, perhaps falling down. Or maybe Gen being the creator of all books, and therefore holding dominion over all life on Riven, which is how he likes to see himself. Let's take a look at another beetle. Now this is an interesting one. What we can see here is Gen again. But what we actually also see is the process of paper making. We have trees being cut, and we have the paper being created and the pages being given, and teaching here. So we have the whole process of bookmaking in scripture. Let's see what's in the other beetles. One thing that's really important about Mist and Riven is to investigate and try and find all pieces of information from every little thing that you can, because often you'll find that those small pieces of information are really important in understanding other puzzles later on. Okay, here we see again the whole bookmaking process, and we can see trees being cut down, chipped, and created in some kind of paper making machines. The one that we saw before was more the kind of infrastructure that would exist on Riven, and that was more the literal paper making process. I've been clicking on the right one, so let's see if this is the same beetle or if it's actually just the next one around. Yep, I was right. It's putting me to the right each time. You have to excuse the little old school hand cursor. It exists on the PC and PlayStation versions, so you can learn to love him. Okay, and here we see Gen, and he is writing linking books. And you can see that he is really placing himself as a creator here. His words literally creating all images from them. So what we can learn from these is that Genn has really placed himself as the complete master of Riven since being trapped here, and that he is dedicating a huge amount of his time and his energy to direct the Rivenese people to assist him in creating more books. And here we are, we see the final one, Genn as the Lord and the God of Riven, and all the Rivenese people worshipping him. So he's really set himself up as, you know, the master of Riven, and getting the Rivenese people to do what he wants them to do, which is to try and help him create linking books, because remember, Genn is trapped here, he doesn't want to be here. Now here we see a gate, and we can see there is some kind of building object on the other side, but we can't get to it because of this gate. So we need to try and figure out how to get through that gate. So before we actually go across the other side here, I'm just going to finish looking at this room, and then we're going to have a little investigate. Now the first thing we should see is that there is a button here. So let's see what it will do. And we find that it rotates this whole temple room. And we can see from that little flash of light that it gives us a little porthole that we can see into. And now we can see the position of the doors has changed. There is actually a second door appeared, but this one is also locked. So let's rotate the room again. Now if we think about the way the doors are here, they're kind of in like a bent L shape. They kind of go off and to an angle. So as the room is rotating, it's important to try and keep that in mind so that you can try and understand where these doors may be opening to. And also if you think once it's gone around more than one time, those doors will actually point to different positions. Let's see what we can see right now. Okay, now we can't get in, but that door is back open again, which means that the other door must be somewhere over here. So let's go and see, seeing as there was another way down of the path here, whether we might be able to find some way in. We can see other small islands dotted around as we go forward. Just have a little look at the view. One thing that's really amazing about Riven is when this game was coming out, the graphics were unbelievable, and they're still really nice. When we try the gate, it's obviously locked. But we do see a little dagger down here. Now these daggers, as I said, were created by Catherine, and they can often be a little clue as to a direction or something to head towards. So if we move towards here, we see that we can zoom in, and when we move again, you can actually move into the cave within. And now we can see that, as I said, the doors are at an L angle, and we have actually got another way into the room. But this doesn't help us very much because the door is still locked. And Riven, unfortunately, is very much about trial and error, as is Myst, really. But let's look around, see if there's something we can do here. Is there something we've missed? Because there must be a way of opening this door. It doesn't seem to be here. But maybe there's something else that we're missing. So let's go back and rotate the room again. Now, something that the PS game has that the PC didn't have was the little lightning bolt system. And that's because it takes a little bit longer to load between screens. With the PC version you can click very quickly between screens, but with the PS it takes a little bit longer, so I will turn that on once I have been around an island once. It just allows you to skip over a few of the stills. Okay, now we've got to think about where we're going with this. So, now we've rotated it here. Now we know that there's an extra way in. When we click it again here, we're going to have to rotate it a few times here. Because that next doorway is very close to us, so the next rotation will bring it round again. Let's take a little look. Now, we can't actually see anything, which suggests that both those other doors are blocked, and therefore it must be opening something. Let's go back and have another look. As I said though, I can't remember all of these details, so I am having to kind of try and figure it as we go. I don't know how many times. I thought we had to rotate it a couple more times there, but I think that was enough. Ah, we know it's still locked. Come on. Okay. Ah, now it is open, but what are we connected to now? I know that quite a few people playing this would often get frustrated with this first puzzle, and the revolving room was a very frustrating one. Okay, it leads us to a secret cave. And when we go down here, we find the first of many steam piston systems. Steam piston systems is what I wanted to say. And we can see it there. So if we change this valve here, that's going to redirect that steam and control it to something. And we can hear the sound difference there. Also, if we click this little symbol, that looks kind of familiar. And it looks like the telescope slash hopper thing that I was curious about earlier. So we shall remember that. Now going back this way, we notice that this door has something the other doors did not have, which is this other mechanism. So let's click this. Now if you listen, you can hear something opening. Now, we don't know which door that is. So I don't really want to stand here and click this because I have a feeling. Or do I? No, you know what? I am going to rotate the room there. Let's rotate this and see what happens. We're here already, we may as well try and rotate it. And then at least, it's only probably one rotation, I think. One or two anyway. And then we'll know which door is which. one thing that also is kind of important about Riven is to be methodical. Okay, we're blocked right now, so we'll do it one more time. And by that, what I mean is, there is obviously other areas to this island, but it's kind of important to clear an area such as you go through. So try and find everything, try and do everything that you can in one place before moving on, because again, that information might be useful, and you know, you may need to reference things. Here we go. So finding out everything that you can before moving on is really important. Here we go, and it has opened one of our doors. Except there is now another door blocking our way. We broke down one door, but then there was a metal door. Okay, so we can't get through here. But it has opened one extra thing for us, and that is another lever. So we click this, and we hear something else opening up, and I think we can probably guess what that is. However, it does mean that we're going to have to rotate the room again and again to be able to get back there. So whilst this game, Riven, can seem quite simplistic in some ways, when you think about it, the actual dynamic and mechanics of getting this game to work properly, I know this is going to take one more, I think. When you think about it, they have to work out all the positions of a room like this, they have to work out all the angles that you can come off, all the stills, how it's going to look different. It's not as simple as it looks originally. Okay, and I was right, we needed 2 rotations to get back to this original one. But we're not done. And trust me, it's worth getting all these rotations out of the way in one go, because then you don't have to come back and do it. Okay. Now we're going to rotate again, and then maybe one more time, and then I think we're there. So, I'm going to let this episode run for about 30 minutes. But the other ones I might break down shorter, depending on what we're doing and how it's going on. But I think in this first one, it's important that we just get this out of the way, because this puzzle can be quite a long puzzle if you go away and come back to it. But I know because it took me a very, very long time to figure it out originally. But as I say, often you often remember the first and last parts of games, I find, and in the middle you forget things. So I know there's some things I remember, I know there's some things that I don't remember, and I also know there's some things that you can't remember. There's some things that you have to figure out in the game. So there's not everything, some things are generated randomly in this game, so you have to look at them each time. You can't just know it, you have to actually work it out. Which is kind of interesting, really, that a game like this will do that. Now we see the door has opened, and we can now get through to the gold dome. And we can see back over, there's a big forest over here. A lot of the islands have quite strong characteristics, and you can, you know, they have names. Funnily enough, this island is Dome Island. I think you can guess why. Let's see if we can actually get a look at it. I thought we could get a look at it from this angle. No, it doesn't want to let me. I think we can get a better look at this from a different place. Now then, we have some kind of strange, what looks like some kind of power plant, really. And this is kind of an important symbol. I'll write this symbol down because it might come in handy later on to know where these things. These are obviously shooting off probably to other islands, you would imagine, because this seems to be like a main power plant. But these icons kind of obviously represent where they are going to, and that might be important later. I will be honest, I genuinely can't remember if it is important or not, but you need to write and note down everything that may be important, so I will write that one down. Let's just take a little look and see what else we got down here. A lot of the water and things in Riven is very kind of this curious sort of cyan aqua colour. It kind of denotes like volcanic water, that kind of very mineralised water. I can hear sort of mechanics and things going on, so it's obviously like an industrial room here. Okay, on we go. Now it gives us another angle on some other islands right here. So we can look over here. We can obviously see the steam coming up from this thing. But there's another island over there. And we can also see another one here. So there's two. That makes another 3 islands we've seen so far. So we've got one here, the tree forest island we could see, and the far one. So that's 4 islands in total. But given that we know everything comes in 5s in Riven, fair likelihood that we're going to have a 5th. Now, most of the time, things are usually turned on and you turn them off. So, let's see what this one denotes. Now, that one has got a little picture of a bridge being raised. So I think it stands to reason that, like the telescope, that's what this one will be controlling for us. And that may be handy for us, we don't know. Now, something else to note here. Up here, where I'm pointing at right now, you can actually see, if you look carefully, that that is being animated. And it's actually a spinning dome. It's spinning round and round. And it's kind of interesting. I wonder what that is and why it's spinning like that. I'm going to see if we can see it any better. And if not, then we'll just see what's down here. And there it is, we can see it spinning round and round. But we wonder what that could be. Kind of a weird structure to have. It's going very, very fast, and I don't think we would be able to just stop it manually. The reason as well why it's, you should always keep turning around, because often you get things like this, which doesn't seem to do anything, but it's obviously something. And that's also important to remember things. And turning around in Riven is, funnily enough, you often miss things by going continually forward. It can often be a real habit to just keep clicking because you want to get somewhere quickly. But it's important to stop every now and then, just have a little look around. If there's nothing there, you'll just turn right around. But if there is something, you'll turn side on. And it's important to check everywhere you go, because you don't know when you're going to miss something. Okay, we can see another lever here and another bridge raising sign. So let's raise that one up. It's probably going to be useful for us. We can hear that steam being redirected. There we go. Let's have a little look. Yep, and we can see, well, this pipe goes to this bridge, so it stands to reason that probably raises it. So where does the other one go? Let's see if we can look up here at all. I don't think we can. We've got a little look at that dome. So I'm going to finish this one up here, guys. This has been our first little exploration, and we're done with this area really right now. So in the next video, we're going to be heading back over and exploring the second part of Dome Island. And I hope I've whetted your appetite a little bit to find out more about Riven and about the world. But remember, the next video that I've got coming up will be the journal entries. So if you want to see Atris's journal, that'll be the next video coming up. If not, then I'm going to stop it right here, and I'll catch you for the next one.